Hi everybody, welcome to the Pure Yoga Detox Flow. It's going to be the Vinyasa based sequence. So this actual flow will just help twist those wastes, get into those internal organs just to help remove any built up toxins. So we'll be doing lots and lots of rotations. Think about where your body is, how your lower back feels. And the aim in this process is to try and keep a neutral pelvis while you're twisting. If you start to go into an anterior tilt and you twist, you can start playing a little bit with the backs. So if you start feeling any lower back issues, don't take such bigger twists. So if I'm asking you to hook elbows, maybe just take hands. If I'm asking you to bring an arm behind you, maybe bring that arm to your lower back. But all the time thinking about keeping that rib and hip tether and that core engagement, the tailbone tucking down and the lower belly lifting up. And that will keep that core engagement through the middle. So that will keep that little protection in the lower back so you don't dump into that lumbar spine, into that L4, L5 joint, which can be where you get a lot of compression. So think about where the pelvis is and keep it neutral. Think about when you twist, if it doesn't feel comfortable in a deep twist, come out a little bit, use the hand rather than the elbow. And today we're also going to be including a little bit of Earth Salutation. So that will be put in every so often throughout this Vinyasa sequence. So we're going to be starting on our knees. So I'm going to start to face what would be the front edge of the mat for you, but we're coming to the back edge with our bodies. So knees together, feet together, tops of the feet flat on the floor if that's comfortable, if not, tuck the toes under. Bring the hands onto the top of the thighs, take a close of the eyes and just take a couple of moments here to scan the body, just to check in with how your body feels. Witness your body from the outside in. Checking in with any tension that you're holding, checking in with your posture. Are you holding through the shoulders? If you are, just maybe give those shoulders a little roll, maybe a little turn of the head, maybe a little roll of the head, just to try and release that tension in the neck. If you close the eyes, you bring yourself a little more internally. Then think about that lower back. Do you feel that that lower back is quite arched? If it is, think about that tailbone tucking down, the lower belly lifting up, and those ribs and hips starting to tether. Take a nice long deep breath in through the nose and then take a long sigh out through the mouth. And if you're happy then after that breath to bring that breath in and out through the nose, taking the true yogic breath, or use the mouth if you feel that's needed, if you're holding any colds or allergies. Take a roll of the shoulders up towards the ears, and then let them relax back down towards the hips. Open the eyes, take a breath in. Take a breath out, turn the palms forward towards the front of the mat and open through the chest. Your next breath in, push into the tops of the feet, bring the hands up towards the ceiling, bring the palms together. And on your breath out, start to lean forward, bring the hands to the mat. Your breath in, scoop yourself forward into a little baby cobra. On your breath out, release that chest to the floor, tuck the toes under and bring the chest back towards the thighs. Your next breath in, push into the hands and feet, lift up the hips. Paddle the feet as you arrive in your first downward facing dog. And then bring those heels to stillness if you're happy to do so, with maybe a slight bend in the knees to protect the lower back. Try and tether those ribs and hips. Your next breath in, raise the right leg up to the ceiling. And your breath out, keeping the hips high, bring the knee to the nose. Breath in, raise that leg back up to the ceiling. Breath out, bring that right knee to the heel of the right hand. Untuck the toes, drop the back knee. Bring that right foot under the body and just settle in pigeon. Just move those hips a little from side to side. Just taking a couple of breaths here. Starting to get that openness through the hip. And then tuck those back toes under, lift the back knee, lift that right leg back up to the ceiling. Bring the right foot back to meet the left. Take a paddle of the feet, a nod and shake of those heads. And then bring yourself back down to the knees, untuck the toes, bring the feet and the seat towards each other, finding yourself back in that kneeling position. Close the eyes. Take a nice long deep breath in through the nose. Take a long sigh out through the mouth. Open the eyes again. Take your normal breath in and out through the nose. Breath in. Breath out. Open the palms to the front of the mat. Open the chest. Your next breath in, push into the tops of the feet. Lift the bum from the heels. Palms come together. Breath out. Bring those hands to the floor, seat to the feet. Breath in, scoop yourself forward into a little baby cobra. Your breath out, bring that chest back down, tuck under the toes, bring the chest back towards those thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips, maybe paddle the feet here for a couple of breaths. As those hamstrings are still getting used to going into flexion and stretching. Then if you're happy to bring those heels to stillness, maybe a soft bend into the knees. Your next breath in, your left leg lifts. And on your breath out, the hips stay high as you bring that knee towards the nose. Breath in, raise that left leg back up to the ceiling. Breath out, bring that left knee to the heel of the left hand. Untuck the back toes. Drop the back knee, maybe turn that left foot under the body a little more and rock those hips from side to side, getting that external rotation of that left hip. Just moving a little through those pelvises just to soften off, just to feel that body opening up a little more. And then tucking those back toes under, lifting up the back knee. Send that left leg back up to the ceiling and let it come back down to meet the right. Take a paddle through the feet, nod and shake of the head. And then bring yourself down onto the knees. Separate the knees as wide as the mat. Bring the big toes together, sit bones to the heels, foreheads to the floor. Just take a moment in child's pose, reaching forward with the fingertips, back with the sit bones. Feeling that stretch in that lower back. So what we've just done there is Earth Salutations, very grounded. A lot of it is down low on the floor rather than coming up high like Sun Salutations or Moon Salutations. So as Earth suggests, it's a grounding salutation. So making your way into your downward facing dog, starting to make our way into our start of our vinyasa movement, stepping the feet back to a plank first and then lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back towards the back of the mat. Maybe with the micro bend in the knee, maybe with the legs straight. Widen the fingers, soften through the shoulders, soften through the neck. Create some space between the shoulders and the ears. Your next breath in, your right leg lifts up towards the ceiling. Take a bend into the right knee. Turn the hips out to the right side. Keep the neutral shoulders. Twist through the waist, turn through the hips. And then bring those hips back to neutral. Bring the knee into the chest, keeping the hips high. Step your right foot through, in between the hands, drop the back knee and curl the toes. Raise the arms up to the ceiling. Bring the palms together, then hook that left elbow over that right knee. Try and keep the pelvis neutral. Twist from the waist, turn the shoulders to the right. Maybe take the gaze back towards the back of the room. Push into the sole of the right foot, push into the top of the left foot. Taking our first main rotation of the flow, low lunge rotation. If you wish to add in a little more here for the thigh on that left side, lift that left foot away from the floor. Maybe take that right hand back to take a hold of that left foot. Only take this position if it feels comfortable for you. Just try and feel that stretch through that left thigh. But if it's too much, bring that left foot back to the mat. The rotation is still happening, which is what we're concentrating on. Holding it in this position just for one more breath. Then releasing that left foot back to the floor. Bring the hands either side of the right foot, tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee. Right leg lifts up to the ceiling, bending the knees, stacking the hips. Bring that right foot down to meet the left. Take a paddle through the feet, nod and shake of the head. And in between these two sides, we're taking a vinyasa of your choice. I'm taking option 1, coming forward to a plank. Dropping down with the knees and tucking the toes. Elbows graze the ribs, roll through, up, lift the chest, either up dog or baby cobra, and then making your way back to down dog, chest to thighs, pushing into those hands, pushing into the feet, lifting the hips and squeezing those heels back. Same on your left side, your breath in raises the left leg, we bend that knee, we stack up that hip, turn the hips to the left, shoulders stay neutral to the front edge of the mat. Then realign those hips, keeping the hips high, bring the knee to the chest. Step your left foot through, in between the hands, drop your back knee and curl the toes. Raise the arms up, so we come up to our low lunge. Then bring the palms together, your right elbow hooks over your left knee. Push into the hands to create the twist. If that knee isn't able to be reached by the elbow, bring that right hand to the elbow instead and the left hand behind the back. If you're happy to take it a little deeper for that right thigh, lift that right foot away from the floor. Then take your left hand around to take a hold of that right foot and keep that twist through the body, but take that stretch through that right thigh. Holding for a couple of breaths. Pelvis is always neutral to the front of the mat in our rotations, but our shoulders are what turn to left or right. One more breath here. Then release that that right foot back down. Bring the hands either side of that left foot. Tuck your back toes under. Raise that left leg back up to the ceiling. Bend the knees, stack up the hips. Realign the hips, bring the left foot back to meet the right. Bring the knees to the floor, untuck the toes. Bring those sit bones back towards those heels. Take a little nod and shake of the head. Your next breath in, lift up through the shoulders. On your breath out, turn the palms forward. Push into the tops of the feet as you raise those hands up to the ceiling. As you breathe out, bring those sit bones down. Bring those hands forward to the front of the mat. Scoop yourself forward with the chest. Come into a little baby cobra. Then release that chest back down. Tuck under those toes. Bring those chests back towards those thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. Your next breath in, your right leg lifts. And on your breath out, we bring that knee to the nose, hips stay high. Breath in, raise that right leg. Breath out, bring that right knee to the heel of the right hand. Untuck the back toes, take a hold of the right foot, turn it under the body. And just rock the hips a little from side to side, just holding in this position for a few breaths, not holding it for long. Then tuck under those back toes, lift that back knee, send that right leg back up to the ceiling, and then bring it back to meet the left. Come down onto the knees, untuck the toes, seat to the feet, onto the knees. Breath in. Breath out, turn the palms forward, open through the chest. Next breath in, push into the tops of the feet as you raise the hands up to the ceiling. On your breath out, bring the seat to the feet, hands to the front of the mat. Scoop through and up into your little baby cobra or maybe an up dog. Then release that chest back down, tuck under those toes, bring the chest back to the thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips, squeeze those heels back. Your next breath in, your left leg lifts. And on your breath out, that knee comes to the nose and the hips stay high. Breath in, raise that left leg back up to the ceiling again. And on your breath out, bring that left knee to the heel of the hand and the left foot under the body. Untuck the toes to sink the hips towards the sole of that left foot. Turn it under the body more if you need to. Try to find that 45-degree angle of that lower left leg. Not holding it here for long. We're tucking then the back toes under, lifting the back knee, lift the left leg up to the ceiling and bring it back to meet the right. Take a paddle of the feet, nod and shake of the head. Bring the knees down, the seat to the feet, maybe choice to take on some water or just take a few moments to restore the breath. And then we're going to carry on through this flow, adding more poses on as we go. If you're in child's pose, take a nice long deep breath in through the nose and a long sigh out through the mouth. And then bringing yourself back to down dog, maybe working yourself through tabletop first, then into plank, and then lifting the hips and squeezing those heels back. Your breath in, we raise the right leg, we bend the knee, we stack at the hip. We then realign the hips, we bring the knee into the chest. Take a gaze in between the hands as you step your right foot through. Drop your back knee first and curl the toes. Raise the arms up to the ceiling. Then bring the palms together, left elbow or left hand to right knee. Turn and twist. Find the twist first and then tuck your back toes under, lift up that back leg to find a high lunge rotation. So we're still in the same position with the hands. We're turning the chest to the right, the back leg is straight and we're pushing that left heel back as much as we can. And we're feeling that twist through the waist. Right knee stays bent and we push nice and strongly into that right foot. Try not to crunch the toes on that right foot. Try and let them relax. Hold it in the high lunge rotation just for a few more breaths. Try to straighten that left leg as much as you can and encourage that left heel to the back of the mat. Then release the hands down either side of the right foot. Raise that right leg up towards the ceiling. Take a bend in the knees, stack up of the hips. Realign the hips, right foot to meet the left. And flow a vinyasa of your choice from here. So coming forward to plank, I'll take option 2, releasing down with a straight body or drop the knees if you need to. Push into the hands, lift up the chest into an up dog or baby cobra. And then bringing yourself back to down dog, either chest to thighs or rolling straight over the toes with straight legs. Working your way back to down dog. Having a little nod and shake of the head, maybe a paddle through the feet. Then bring those heels towards the mat. Same on the left leg lifts. We bend that knee, we stack at that hip. Realign the hips, keeping the hips high. Bring the knee to the chest, gaze in between the hands as you step your left foot through. Drop that back knee and curl the toes, raise the arms into our low lunge. Bring the palms together, right elbow or right hand hooks over that left knee. Hold it in rotation, low lunge for a moment. And then tuck under those back toes, lift up that back knee, finding high lunge rotation. Right heel pushes back to straighten that right leg. Left knee stays bent. We try and keep the pelvis neutral. Try not to drop that right hip. Feel that rotation, that detoxification of the waist, of those internal organs, removing the toxins out of the body, moving them around the system to allow them to escape. Holding in high lunge rotation just for one more breath. And then release those hands down either side of the left foot. Lift that left leg back up to the ceiling, bend at the knees, stack up the hip, realign the hip, left foot to meet the right, and take yourself down onto your knees, untuck your toes, bring yourself onto your knees, shoulders over the hips. So this is the last time we're going to take our Earth Salutations in between poses, and then we'll just continue with the flow thereafter. Breathe in. Breathe out, turn the palms forward, create space in the chest. Breath in, push into the tops of the feet, raise the hands to the ceiling. On your breath out, find the hands towards the front of the mat and seat to the feet. Scoop yourself forward into an up dog or a baby cobra. And then take yourself back, tucking the toes under, chest towards the thighs. Then push into those hands, push into those feet. Lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. Right leg lifts on your inhale, and we bring that right knee to the nose on the exhale, keeping the hips high. Right leg lifts on the inhale, and then you bring that right knee to the heel of the right hand, taking your right foot under the body. Left toes untucked, left knee drops. Rock the hips a little from side to side in a slow movement in pigeon, just for a couple of breaths. And then tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee, lift your right leg back up to the ceiling. Bring it back down to meet the left. Bring the seat back to the feet, the knees to the floor, shoulders stacking over the hips to find yourself in kneeling position. Breath in. Breath out, turn the palms forward, open through the chest. Push into the tops of the feet on the inhale to raise the hands to the ceiling. On your exhale, reach forward with the hands back with the sit bones. Scoop yourself forward onto the body, front of the body, and lift up the chest. And then make your way back to down dog. Chest to thighs. Pushing into those hands, pushing into those feet, lifting the hips. Breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, left knee to the nose, hips stay high. Breath in, lift that left leg. Breath out, left knee to the heel of the left hand, left foot comes under the body. Untuck the back toes, drop the back knee, rock the hips a little through our pigeon pose, maybe movement a little through the shoulders. And then tucking those back toes under, lifting the back knee, left leg lifts up to the ceiling. Bring it back down to meet the right. Take a paddle through the feet, nod and shake of the head. And we'll continue from here to add on to the end of that rotation sequence. Breath in, your right leg lifts, you bend that knee, you stack up that hip. You realign the hips, you bring the knee to the chest, keeping the hips high, and then step your right foot through. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes, raise the hands up to the ceiling. Then bring the palms together, either left elbow or left hand to the knee, and twist in low lunge rotation. Tuck the back toes under, lift up the back knee. Hold it in high lunge rotation for a breath. Then take a gaze down towards that right foot. Bring your left foot to meet the right and find chair rotation. Hips stay low, knees stay bent. Rotation is still to the right. Try and keep your right knee in line with your left. Feet are just slightly apart. Push the weight into the heels rather than the toes. Keep that twist through that body. One more breath here. And then allow the legs to straighten, the hands to come to the floor, let the head go. Breath in, come up to a half lift. Breath out, plant the hands, step your left foot back, step your right foot back. Lift the hips back to down dog. Take a vinyasa of your choice. I'm going option 3, so forward to plank on your inhale. Release to a hover or drop the knees or come all the way to the floor. Roll over the toes and lift up the chest, thighs stay away. Then taking it back to down dog, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back, having a nod and shake of those heads. So same on the left side. Breath in, your left leg lifts. Breath out, we turn and twist through the waist to stack the hips. Then realign the hips, bring that left knee into the chest, keep the hips high as you step that left foot through. Drop the back knee and tuck the toes, raise the hands to our low lunge. Then bring the palms together, right elbow, left knee, turn and twist in low lunge. Then tuck the back toes under, lift up the back knee to find high lunge rotation. Just a breath in this position. Then take a gaze down to the left foot, step your right foot to meet the left and find that chair position, hips low, weight in the heels, rotation through the waist. Use those hands to twist. Remember, if you want to use the right hand on the left knee and the left hand on the lower back, that's still an option. Make sure the knees are in line, the feet are slightly apart. Maybe gaze up to the ceiling to twist that neck, that upper spine. On your out breath, just allow the legs to straighten, the hands to come to the floor or the shins. Your in breath, come up to a half lift. Your out breath, plant the hands, step your right foot back, your left foot back, lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. Vinyasa of your choice, and back to option one, coming forward to a plank. Dropping the knees, elbows graze the ribs, untuck the toes. Push into the hands, lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog, either rolling straight over those toes or chest back to thighs, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. Then bring yourself down into child's pose. Just take a moment, a couple of restorative breaths. Find that breath to be calm and relaxed. So if at any point you're holding your breath in the practice, it's the worst thing you can do for relaxing the muscles. The more you hold the breath, the more those muscles, ligaments and tendons will tighten, which will restrict your range of movement. The deeper the breath you take in, the more it relaxes your system, your nervous system. The parasympathetic system will switch on, which will allow that body just to relax into those poses a little more. So we're going to be taking ourselves through that flow again, but we're going to be adding another pose on. So when you're ready, find yourself back to down dog, maybe coming through tabletop first, stepping your feet back to a plank, and then lifting the hips without fussing with the hands and feet to find your true alignment of down dog. Your breath in, your right leg lifts, we bend the knee, we stack up that hip. Then realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest, keeping the hips high, and then step your right foot through. Drop your back knee, untuck the toes, raise the arms towards the ceiling. Then bring the palms together, left elbow to the right knee or left hand to the right knee, and then hold it in low lunge for a breath. Then tuck the back toes under, lift up the back knee, hold it in rotated high lunge for a breath. Keeping the hands, palms together, or if you're using the right hand on the back of the bum, left hand on the right knee, whatever variation you're taking. Gaze towards that right foot, step your left foot forward, find your rotated chair. Keep those hips low, knees in line, weight in the heels, feather-like touch through the toes. Then open the arms out, right hand raises up to the ceiling, left hand comes down to the floor, or keep the palms together if you wish, just hold it for a breath. Then bring the hands back together, put your weight into your right foot as you step your left foot back to a high lunge position. Open the arms again in that high lunge space. Then lift those shoulders over the hips to find that rotated warrior, still keeping the hips neutral to the front edge, shoulders to the right side, and feel that squeeze of those oblique muscles, that squeeze of those internal organs. Try and keep the shoulders down. If that left hand needs to be on the right knee and the right hand needs to be in the lower back, if that feels more comfortable in this pose, The aim is to get the twist. One more breath here. Then windmill the hands down either side of that right foot. Step your right foot back to plank. Lift up the hips to down dog. Take a vinyasa of your choice. I'm option 2, coming forward to plank on your inhale. Releasing with a straight body to the floor or drop the knees. Untuck the toes, push into the hands, lift up the chest. Then release that body back down, tuck the toes under, bring the chest back to the thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips, squeeze those heels back. So same on your left side. Breath in, left leg lifts. We bend that knee, we stack that hip. Then realign the hips, bring that knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands as we step that left foot through. Drop your back knee, untuck the toes, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Bring the palms together, right elbow or right hand to left knee. Turn in our rotated low lunge. Then tuck your back toes under, lift up your back knee. Pushing that right heel back to straighten that leg. Then gaze to that left foot, step your right foot to meet the left, keep the hips low, feet just slightly apart, knees in line, keep that rotation, left shoulder stacking on top of the right. Then open the arms if you wish to widen through the chest, make that twist a little deeper, or keep the hands together if you wish. Then bring those hands back together, weight into your left foot as you step your right foot back. High lunge rotation, then open the arms again, right hand towards the floor, left hand towards the ceiling. Then lift those shoulders, bring yourself into rotated warrior. Shoulders turning to the left, hips facing the front. Sink into the hips maybe a little deeper, right leg pushing back to straighten that back right leg. Think about that tether of the ribs and hips, the tuck of the tailbone, options to drop the arms, right hand to knee, left hand to lower spine. Hold it just for one more breath. Then bring the hands down either side of your left foot. Step back to plank. Lift the hips, down dog. Take a vinyasa of your choice, coming forward to plank on the inhale. Releasing down either to hover or to the floor or dropping the knees. Roll through, uplift the chest if you're with me, thighs staying away. And then take yourself back with me, straight legs or chest to thighs. Rolling over those toes, lifting those hips. Bring yourself down onto your knees, maybe take a chance of water or child's pose, whichever feels most accommodating for your body. Try and restore that breath, calm that nervous system. Bring yourself out of maybe a little fight and flight mode, bring it into rest and restore. Let everything relax. Feel those sit bones back to the heels as much as possible. Maybe bring the arms behind just to release those shoulders from those down dogs. So we're having yet another practice of sequence to add another pose on to the end. So when you're ready, coming back up onto your tabletop position, knees back under the hips, step yourself back then into a plank, and then raise the hips back to down dog without fussing with those hands and feet to add another pose on to the end. So as you breathe in, raise that right leg, bend the knees, stack at the hip, turn the hips to the right, shoulders stay neutral. Then realign the hips, bring the knee to the chest, hips stay high as you step your right foot through. Drop your back knee and tuck the toes, bring the arms up towards the ceiling. Bring the palms together, left elbow or left hand hooks over the right knee. Turn and twist in low lunge. Use the hands as an anchor, the elbow as an anchor. Tuck your back toes under, raise that left knee, keeping that twist to the right, left heel back to straighten that left leg. Then gaze towards that right foot, step your left foot to meet the right, keep the hips low, weight in the heels, feather light touching the toes, both knees equal to neutralize the pelvis, Twist is still in the waist. Maybe we open our arms to the side to get a little more twist. And then bring those hands back together if you've opened the arms. Weight into your right foot as you step your left foot back to your high lunge. Open the arms again here if you wish. And then from this position, find your rotated warrior just for a breath. Then scoop the right arm down, around, left arm up and over. Straighten both legs, toes facing then slightly inwards, heels slightly out. Bring the hands to the hips, roll the shoulders. Relax them back down. On your out breath, start to fold to a half fold. Then release your hands to the floor. Maybe you're using a block or books. Keeping your left hand in the center, bring your right hand to the shoulder. Turn and twist to that right side. When you found the twist, raise the right hand to the ceiling. Maybe raise that gaze. Try not to lock out that left elbow. That's helping the anchor of the twist. Push into the outside edges of both feet. Maybe lift that tailbone a little higher. If you need to roll the mat up a little, feel free to roll the mat to bring the floor a little closer, or use those books and blocks. If that right hand lifts too much for the shoulder, just bring it to the lower back. Keep that rotation coming through that waist. Keep pushing into the outside edges to activate those legs. If the arm of the right's lifted, maybe reach up a little higher. Then bring that right hand back down, place it where the left hand is. Left hand comes to the shoulder, turn and twist through the waist, shoulder left steps on the right. Then raise that left hand to the ceiling, gaze up towards that left thumb. Energetically pushing down into both feet. Try and keep the hips nice and neutral. Right arm, try not to lock out that elbow. But keep that rotation, keep that left shoulder stacking. And then release that left hand back down to meet the right. Allow that body to forward fold over those legs. Bring the hands in between the feet if you can reach. Encouraging that head as close towards the floor, but it's not necessary to get there. Just an intention. If you need to bend the knees, if the hamstrings feel tight, take a bend in the knees. If not, try and straighten the legs, lift up the bum. One more breath here. Then on your in-breath, come up into a half lift. Walk the hands back towards that right foot. Step back to a plank. Lift up the hips, squeeze those heels back. And take a vinyasa of your choice. I'm going back to option 1, forward to plank. Release down the knees, untuck the toes, chest to the floor. Roll through, up, lift up the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Release back down, chest back to thighs. Or roll straight over the toes with straight legs. Lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. So same on your left side. Your breath in, your left leg lifts. We stack up the hips, turn the hips to the left, shoulders stay neutral. Realign the hips, keep the hips high, and bring that left foot in between the hands. Drop the back knee, uncurl the toes. Raise the arms up to low lunge. Then bring the palms together, right elbow or right hand over the left knee. Twist the waist, turn the shoulders. Then tuck the back toes under, lift up the back knee, finding that rotated high lunge. Then gazing towards that left foot, step your right foot to meet the left. Find chair position, knees level, feet slightly apart, hips low, weight in the heels. Maybe open the arms, left arm up, right arm down, turn and twist maybe a little more. And then bring those hands back together. Put the weight into your left foot and step your right foot back. Keep that rotation. Maybe open the arms again in high lunge rotation. And then from this position, lifting the shoulders over the hips to find that rotated warrior pose. So neutral pelvis, shoulders turned. Left knee bent, right leg straight. Then take your left arm down, your right arm up, and find yourself in a wide leg position. Toes facing the long right edge of the mat, slightly in, heels slightly out. Bring the hands to the hips, take a breath in, and on your out breath, take it to a half fold. Release then the hands to the floor. Walk the hands over towards that right foot, twisting through the waist again, lengthening through the left side, contracting through the right side, facing towards those right toes. Feel that rotation, feel that stretch, feel that contraction. Then walk the hands back through center and take them now over to the left leg. And turn and twist, contract the left side, stretch the right side. Keep pushing into the outside edges of the feet. Micro bend the knees if you need to. If hands don't reach the floor, maybe bring those hands to those shins. Walk the hands back to the center. Once you're back in center, allow that body to fold over those legs. Bring the hands in between the feet. Encourage that head towards the mat, but it doesn't need to reach. Hamstring stretch, calf stretch, Achilles stretch. Stretching through the glutes and the lower back. And on your in-breath, start to come up to a half lift. And then walk the hands back around towards that left foot. Step your left foot back to meet the right plank and lift the hips. Down dog. Take a vinyasa of your choice. Forward to plank on your inhale. I'm taking option 2, releasing all the way to the floor. Exhale. Inhale, push into the hands, lift the chest. And then make your way back to down dog. Lifting through the hips, squeezing those heels back. Have a nod, shake the head. Come back onto the knees, untuck the toes. Bring the seat to the feet, shoulders over those hips. So we're going to take one more pose, but it's just one pose on its own, but transitioning through lunge, which is going to be a half moon rotation. So maybe you need a block or a book to give you a little support with the grounded hand, or you just use your hand on the floor. So I'll give both options. So I'll just get a block out. So if you need to pause me to get a book or a block, feel free to do so. Just have that block at the front of the mat ready for you to use as support. So bringing yourself back into down dog if you're ready. Maybe you've had a sip of water. I forgot to get my water today, but that's okay. It's not too warm in here. Bringing the heels back, nodding and shaking of the head. What I will say, it's not necessarily good practice to have no water at the side of you. So just make sure you have some fluids. So when you're ready, your right leg lifts. We bend that knee, we stack up those hips. Then realign those hips, bring that right knee into the chest. Gaze in between the hands and step your right foot through. Take a hold of the block in your left hand. Step forward onto your right leg. Toes back towards the shins. Bring your right hand onto your right shoulder. And then turn that shoulder around towards that right side. Leg stays straight on both sides. Then when you've got the rotation, maybe lift that right hand up to the ceiling. Hips are facing down towards the floor. And we're twisting the waist, trying to stack the right shoulder on top of the left, taking it into that reverse rotated half moon. Holding just for another couple of breaths here. Very challenging pose to work with, but really good for the balance, good for the mind. Keep breathing easy breaths as you hold this pose. One more breath here, keeping that back leg lifted. And then release both hands to the floor. Raise that left leg up into half splits. And then stepping your left foot back, right foot back, plank position. Lift the hips, squeeze the heels back, nod and shake of the head. Flow a vinyasa of your choice here, forward to plank on the inhale. I'm going to take option 3, chaturanga, to hover, roll through, Lift up the chest, thighs, stay away or grounded. Taking yourself back to down dog. Lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. So taking the same on the opposite side. Make sure your block's at the front of the mat still. Breathe in, raise that left leg. Bend that knee, stack up those hips. Realign the hips, bring the left knee into the chest. Gaze in between the hands as you step that left foot through. Step forward onto your left foot, bring your right hand onto the block. Then lift your left hand to the shoulder, right leg's in line with the hips. Turn the shoulders to the left. Reach then that left hand to the ceiling. Hips stay neutral. Right leg stays lifted. Right toes back to the shins. Encouraging that left shoulder on top of the right as much as you can. Turning, rotating from the centre of the body. Keep squeezing the glute on that right leg to keep that left leg lifted. Holding just for one more breath. Release the hands down. Lift that right leg, taking to half splits. Then step the right foot back, left foot to meet the right. Lift the hips down dog. And flow a vinyasa of your choice here. Forward to plank on the inhale. Back to option one for me. Knees down, untucked toes, chest to the floor. Lift up with the chest. Make your way back to down dog. Lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. Come down onto the knees, separate the knees wide, big toes together, seat to the feet, arms either forward in front of you or down by the side of the body just to give those shoulders a rest. So we've taken quite a few rotations in that practice. So we've done low lunge rotate, high lunge rotate, chair rotate, reverse warrior, reverse half moon, and twist rotate wide leg folds. So really detoxifying that body, squeezing those oblique muscles to strengthen them. When you're ready, come back up onto the knees and we'll finish with an Earth Salutation before we go into our seated poses. Take a breath in. Take a breath out, turn the palms forward, create space in the chest. Breath in, push into the tops of the feet as you raise the hands to the ceiling. Then as you breathe out, bring the hands forward, seat back to the feet. Scoop yourself through into an up dog or baby cobra. Then make your way back to down dog, chest to thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips, squeeze the heels back. Breath in, right leg lifts. Breath out, knee to nose, hips stay high. Breath in, right leg lifts. Breath out, right knee to the heel of the hand, right foot under the body, untuck the toes, drop the back knee. Rock the hips a little from side to side in pigeon. Feel that softness through the hip being created as we've practiced. Then tuck those back toes under, lift that back knee, right leg lifts back up to the ceiling. Bring it back to meet the left. Come down onto the knees, bring the seat to the feet, shoulders over those hips. Breathe in, breathe out, turn the palms forward, open the chest. Push into the tops of the feet as you breathe in, lift the hands to the ceiling. As you breathe out, seat to the feet, hands towards the front of the mat. Scoop through into our up dog or baby cobra. And then take yourself back to down dog, chest to thighs. Pushing into the hands, pushing into the feet, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. Breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, knee to nose, hips stay high. Breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, bring that left knee to the heel of the hand, left foot under the body. Untuck the toes, drop the back knee. Breathe in, rock those hips a little from side to side. Find that openness through that left hip. Then tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Left leg lifts up to the ceiling. Bring it back to meet the right. Take a paddle of the feet, nod and shake of the head. Then make your way into a seated position. Either jumping the feet through or or swinging the legs around, finding that place between the sit bones and the lower spine. Give the knees a hug and then just come up onto the tiptoes, hugging those knees. And then if you're happy to leave the toes away from the mat, keeping the knees squeezed, finding that balancing point, pushing that chest forward, squeezing the knees in a little tighter. And then release the toes to the mat. Bring the hands to the inside of the legs. Take a hook of both toes with the index and middle finger. Then bring yourself back into a balance, bringing the heels away from the floor. And then if you're happy to straighten the legs here in this position, try and push those heels away, straighten the legs, lift up through the chest. So you can either stay in this position if you want to take the rotation. Bring your left hand to the outside of your right foot. Bring your right hand up and over and turn and twist to the right. Keeping both legs nice and straight. Pelvis is neutral because it's grounded on the floor. Rotation, twist, detoxification. Bring that right hand back up. Take a bend into the knees. Give the knees a hug, straighten through the spine. Ready to do that on the other side, but remember you don't have to take all these variations, your choice. So find the elbows into the inside of the knees again, take a hold of the big toes, index and middle finger, and find that balancing point. Straighten up through the legs, push the heels away. It may be that you only come to this position. Just try and encourage as much straightness as you can to get into those hamstrings. When you've found the balance, maybe take that right hand onto that left foot and release that left hand up and over. Find that twist to the left. Both legs straight or slightly bent. Finding that balancing point, finding that rotation, finding that grounding through the pelvis. One more breath here. Then reach those hands back up and over. Bring the feet down, cross the legs. Bring the hands forward, step both feet back to a plank. Lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. Nod and shake of the head. Then make your way back into a seated position again, either swinging the legs around or jumping the feet forward, feet to the front, bums in the middle. So I'm going to mirror image you now on these half lord of the fishes. So bringing a bend into your left knee and then let that knee drop out to the side and just bring that left knee so it's facing forward. Take your right foot over that left leg. So we've almost got a cross of knees. Reach up with your left hand and then bring that left hand around that right knee with the elbow or hook the elbow over. Bringing your right hand behind you. Elongate on the inhale, rotate on the exhale. Half lord of the fishes. If it doesn't feel comfortable with both knees bent, you can keep that left leg straight. Take it to whatever variation works for you, but just maintain the grounding of both sit bones and the rotation through the waist. Encouraging your right shoulder back, your left shoulder around. Use that breath, elongate, rotate. How do those lower backs feel? Making sure you're always mindful as you move. One more breath here. Then counterpose the twist, bring yourself around to the left. Then straighten both legs back out. This time, take a bend into your right leg. Bring that foot in towards the groin. Then turn that right knee forward to the front. Take your left foot over the right leg. Ground through the sit bones. Remember that right leg can be straight if you wish. Reach up with the right arm and then bring that right elbow over the left knee or around the left knee. Taking your left hand behind you, use that elongation to create space and that rotation to find that twist. Breathe in, Breathe out, maybe rotate a little more. Encourage your left shoulder back, your right shoulder around. Sit bones firmly rooted into the mat. Long, easy breaths as you find that movement for your own personal body. One more breath here. And then bring yourself into its counter pose, bringing the hands around to your right. And then straightening the legs back out to the front of the mat, giving those legs a little paddle. We'll take a forward fold and a back bend, just try and neutralise a few of those rotations. Breathe in, reach the hands up to the ceiling. Breathe out, fold over those legs. Take another breath in. And a breath out, draw the belly back and just see whether you can fold that chest a little closer to those thighs. The hands don't have to meet the feet, it may be the shins, the ankles, outside of the feet or the big toes with the index and middle finger, the peace fingers. But just try and not roll that upper back too much. Keep pointing that chest forward. Remembering that breath is what allows those muscles to relax, those nervous systems to go into more of a parasympathetic state. That rest and restore, rather than that sympathetic nervous system that's in fight and flight. And then on your next breath in, bring those shoulders back over the hips. Bring the hands behind, either fingertips pointing in or out to the sides of the mat. Bring a bend into both knees, feet hip width apart, then push into the feet, push into the hands, taking it into a back bend, into our tabletop position, squeezing the bum as much as you can to lift those hips, stretch through the hip flexors, contract and strengthen the back of the body. One more breath here, and then release those bums back to the mat. Cross the feet or swing the legs around. We're just going into one more pose, which is side plank rotation. Choice to drop the base knee if you need to. Roll over onto your right side, so either keeping straight legs or dropping that right knee and turning the right foot off the mat. Reach that left hand up to the ceiling. On your out breath, thread the left hand in between the right arm and the right foot. Breath in, reach up with the left hand. Breath out and thread. Breath in, reach up. Breath out and thread. Breath in, reach up. Breath out and thread. One more, breath in, reach up. Breath out, thread. Breath in, reach up. Breath out, back to full plank. Take it onto your left side, right foot slightly in front of the left. Drop the base knee if you need to. Breath out, thread. Breath in, lift the right hand. Breath out, thread. Breath in, lift. Feel that rotation from the waist. Breath out, thread. Breath in, lift. Breath out, thread. Breath in, lift. Bring yourself back to full plank. Lift the hips down, dog. Either swing the legs around or jump the feet forward. Feet to the front of the mat. Arms shoulder height. Slowly and mindfully making your way down onto the floor with control of that core center. And as the shoulders come to the mat, the head comes to the floor, bring the arms out to a T position, take a bend into both knees, heels and knees stay together. Take the knees over to your left side, your gaze over to your right side, then straighten that top right leg out. Maybe find that big toe with the left hand to make that twist a little more, encouraging the right shoulder down,
Maybe turning to gaze towards that right hand to get that full rotation of the spine in both directions, wringing that spine out, getting rid of toxins. And then take a bend back into that right leg. Bring both knees back into the centre, make sure the spine is neutralised. Then take the knees over to your right, the gaze to your left, straighten that top leg out. Maybe finding the toes of that left foot with the right hand. Left shoulder stays down, the gaze towards that left hand. If you're not happy with that top leg straight, just keep both knees bent. Feel that rotation, work in that digestive system. Easy breaths. And taking a bend back into that left knee. Bring both knees back into the centre. Then squeeze both knees into the chest. Take a hold of the knees. Maybe just have a little rock of that body. Moving the knees in little circular movements, making circles on the ceiling. And then take it into the opposite direction. And squeeze those knees back in. Release the feet back to the floor. Let the knees drop out to the side. Soles of the feet stay together. Maybe just have a little rock of those knees from side to side again, massaging into that lower back, getting into that space of twisting. And then when you're ready, if you're happy to straighten those legs out, bring them to the ends of the mat. Turn the palms up. Let the feet drop out to the side. Push into the heels, lift the bum, tuck the tailbone down. Take that arch out of the lower back to neutralise the pelvis. And then just give those hips a little rock from side to side. Take a nice long easy breath in through the nose. And long sighs out through the mouth. Allow everything just to relax to the mat. Take a scan. Be a witness of your body laying on the floor here in this room. Just being mindful of how that body's moved. Those twists, those abdominals and obliques contracting. Moving toxins around the body to get that waste out. And just take a moment to have that thought of gratitude. Thinking of 2 things that you're grateful for. Starting to bring some movement back into the fingers if you're coming with me, or pause the video if you wish to stay a little longer in relaxation. Start to rotate the wrists, maybe rotate those ankles. If you wish to take that full body stretch, stretching the hands up and over the head, stretching through the fingers, the toes maybe arching into that lower back. And then bringing those hands back up and over, the knees into the chest. Maybe have a little rock of that body from side to side, just to massage that spine, thanking it for practice. Then choice to either roll onto one side or take a hold of the back of the knees, rolling up and down the spine a couple of times if you wish. up to seated twice. Maybe on the third time, bring yourself into a cross-leg position, legs out in front or on the knees. Taking a breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling, bring the palms together at the top. Then as you breathe out, bring the hands to the chest, soft gaze to the floor. Have peace in your thoughts, have peace in your words, have peace in your hearts. From my heart to yours, Namaste.